Leftover women in their 30s in Japan interested in dating foreign men? This dude named Pliskin just sent me a message, said he was talking to his dad about these leftover women in Japan in their 30s. He said if he moves out here, do you think that he might be able to get some leftover 30-year-old Japanese coochie? And yeah, they do call them Christmas cake in Japan. In Japan, in the stores, in the convenience stores, in the grocery stores, they sell these Christmas cakes. What is the date of Christmas? It's the 25th. After the 25th, people don't want these Christmas cakes anymore. So that's what they call women out here. Once you get 26, 27, 28 years old, if you're a girl, people don't want you anymore, just like the Christmas cake. And yes, there's a huge emphasis on age here in Japan. Everything's about age. When you meet people, they ask, how old are you? And then they want to judge you based on that. If you're older than them, then they start treating you more respectfully. If you're younger than them, then they start using the Japanese where they don't have to be super respectful to you. They always assume things about you. People always ask me, how old are you? As soon as I meet them. And I say, I'm 29. And then they say, what do you do? And then I say, I'm a student. And they always laugh and they say, you're a student even though you're 29? I've literally had Japanese people ask me before, like, you can go to college? Like, if you're that old? I'm like, yeah, like, why not? Anyways, in Japan, they have this obsession with age. Respect your elders. How old are you? How young are you? Why are you doing that when you should be this old? So yeah, there are these leftover women in Japan in their 30s. And for like somewhat good reason, I guess, because eventually, I mean, if you're 35, 36, 37, your eggs are going to start drying up. It's going to be pretty difficult for you to have kids if you're a woman. Anyways, this guy messages me, Pliskin, asks like, yo, if I can move out to Japan, do you think I would be able to get one of these older 30-year-old Japanese women? And I don't know how old you are, bro, but first I would ask yourself, have you already just like given up on like a more desirable woman, a more fertile woman? Why are you saying like, I need to come out to Japan to date a 30-something-year-old woman? Like, they would be interested in me, but like a younger girl wouldn't be. Not like, obviously, you guys know what I'm saying. Younger, like meaning like 27, even 26, 25, 28, 29, like just not in their 30s. And the truth is, yeah, dude, like I know from experience, if a woman is in her 30s, she's going to be more agreeable, easier to be around, more understanding of your issues for the most part. And so many people, like in the Discord, they've all said they've had the same thing. If they've dated any older women, whether it be in the States or whatever. In the States, dude, I went on some dates with girls that were in their 30s, girls that were older than me, and they're always like, whoa, they just like, they're more chill, like they're more relaxed. They don't have this bitchy attitude. Like, older women, like that's the move. And I can see why you think that, but you got to think about it like this. The reason that they're so much easier to be around, the reason that they're so much more agreeable, it's the same reason that fat chicks, that ugly chicks are so much more agreeable. Hot chicks, dude, they're getting attention their entire lives. They're programmed to know that like they can choose their partner. They're getting guys hitting on them, coming up to them every day, messaging them on Instagram. They don't have to be super agreeable. They're trying to ward off the betas. They're trying to ward off the dorks. Girls that have less options, I mean, just like guys, girls that have less options have to make compromises. They don't get to do this bitchy thing. They have to be cooler to be around. They're not having guys message them every single day on Instagram asking to fly them out, asking to take them on expensive dates. They have to kind of meet you halfway. But then you have to ask yourself, like, is that something that you want to do? Do you want to settle? I'm not saying that obviously every girl over 30 years old is something that you'd be settling for, like lowering your standards always. Obviously, there are plenty of great women of all ages, of course. However, I'm assuming that you want to have kids. If you don't have kids, why don't you want to have kids? You should want to have kids. And just from an evolutionary standpoint, looking at it through the biological lens, why would you want to be with a girl who maybe can't have babies with you? Don't you want to procreate with her? Don't you want to have offspring? Anyways, because then you have to think, all right, I'm either going to lower my standards to date a girl who maybe can't have babies with me, which is like the main reason that you should be dating anyways, or I can work on myself, raise my standards, go to the gym, get in shape, start socializing, go out, learn to talk to people, learn how to make people laugh, learn how to flirt, learn how to date, read some books, improve yourself, and then you can keep the same standards maybe you originally had. You can raise your standards. You have more options. Isn't that something that you care about? This is like one of maybe the most important thing in your entire life. Who you're going to date, who you're going to spend your life with, who you're going to have children with. This woman is going to allow you to carry on your genes into the next generation. She's going to raise your offspring. She's going to give birth to your offspring. Do you really want to settle for something like that? I don't want to settle. I want to have the best option that I possibly can. That's a lot of the reason, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, that's a lot of the reason that I've been on the self-improvement journey that I have been. Because I want to have badass kids with strong genes who I know will be protected by me and my wife, who will be raised healthy, strong, who will be able to have their own kids and continue to carry on my genes. And in order to do that, I need to improve myself so I can get the best mate possible. And then what am I gonna do all of this work on myself? Like I said, go to the gym, read all these books, learn about dating, gather all of these resources so I can provide for my wife and my kids, get a good job, go to school, go to college, all of this stuff. If you think about it, it's pretty much all because you want to provide for your wife and your offspring so they can survive. I'm gonna do all this shit and then take a gamble on a woman who maybe can't have my babies? I'm not gonna do it. If you come out to Japan, yes, anywhere you go in the world, I would say it's going to be easier if you're in your 20s. It's gonna be a little easier maybe to go on some dates with some older women. There are probably gonna be fewer of them, but they're gonna be a little bit more agreeable. They're gonna be a little bit more willing and open to date you if you're a foreigner maybe. If most Japanese girls already have been swooped up and taken by the Japanese men with the really high standards, because like I said, in Japan they're obsessed with ages and shit like that, and the Japanese men have super high standards. So yeah, there might be something. You might be able to find something. I've been on a few dates like that. I mean, I went through that phase when I was out here also, where I was just like, I don't know, man, like going out like with hot like 20-year-old girls out here, not 20 but like in their 20s. It's kind of like, bro, they're so picky and they're like kind of bitchy, and like they don't want to go to this restaurant, they want to go to that restaurant, and they don't want to go at this time, they want to go at that time, and it's just a pain. But the reason that they can do that is because they're hot and they can have your babies. Hot meaning like they would make good mothers. They would be able to breed with you. I'm not going to geek out too much on the evolutionary stuff right now, but hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. I guess I can do another video talking about crazy stuff like that as well. But yeah, and then anyways, I had this phase where I was like, man, I'm sick of this shit. They require way too much work. I'm going to go on some dates. I'm going to change my Tinder, my Bumble settings to like 30 and up. And I got dates so much easier, dude. So much easier. And I was like, man, these girls are so much cooler. What the fuck? And then I thought about it more and I was like, it feels like I'm lowering my standards just because it's a little bit easier, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy. And like genuinely, if you think about it, the odds that she's going to be able to be the mother of your children and have babies with you go down. That's something that I'm very passionate about. So I quit. I decided that, instead of lowering my standards, I'm going to raise myself so I can have higher standards. And that's what I did. Now we're on the right path. Yeah, dude, you can probably find a girl who's older out here. No matter where you are in the world, you can probably find a girl who's a little bit older. It might be a different game plan, like to get them, but I would say, yeah, it would probably be a little bit easier than finding someone your age or younger maybe, if you're looking for like a young, hot 25-year-old girl versus a 35-year-old girl who maybe has run out of options, yeah, it might be easier. Anyways, guys, all right, peace out.